lies, false promises, egotistical, embarrassing excuses, letdowns. This exposed video will be like no other I've ever made, because to simply put it, the person who I am exposing today is an online personality of a person who I was over the years. Now, being as young and naive as I was, I've made a lot of mistakes. Some I haven't learned from until I came back with the name change, and some mistakes I did learn from, but regardless they still happened anyway. But I want to highlight this video as a way to tell you all, I've changed. And to prove I'm not just saying this for my health, I want to go through my past and highlight some of my low points in an act of humility to myself. But through embarrassing myself on this said video, I want to also show you all that I've grown and matured from the ways of my immaturity in the past, just to be the person I am today. So, without further ado, let the video begin. To be egotistical is to basically think that you're better than everyone else. And during the time when I was having drama episodes with people, I would basically inflate my ego to levels where I think that I'd be better than everyone else when it came to making points and winning dramas in my mind. Now, I don't describe myself as an egotistical person because literally the only time I do this is when I quote have something to prove because someone else insulted me or I'm always in drama. And honestly, I got away with being egotistical despite it being called out so many times by others, because a lot of the people who were calling me out were egotistical and arrogant themselves. Some even much more worse than I was. But what made me stand out from all the rest is the fact that I was so overly cringe with it, because I would get into arguments with people and not know how to conduct myself in those said arguments, which made the validity and the seriousness in some of my actual points disappear because it was shrouded in egotism and bragging. However, I do want to mention, despite how bad my reputation probably was, I do want to mention that this was only a phase. Due to something I was going through in my personal life for years, and while I don't want to blame my personal life for my actions on the internet, that's exactly what I'm going to do anyway. You can actually hear me try to fix myself despite me being ignorant to my emotions years back if you watch some of my videos, where I tried to leave drama or the commentary community due to my mental health. But I also blame how naive and young I was, because I essentially grew up on YouTube ever since I was 12, and when you see people who act how I was acting, well, on a worse scale, as young as I was, you start to think that that's okay to act like them when it's not. And unfortunately for a time there, I was following by others' examples, then turning what I learned from others into a defense mechanism when others started coming at me negatively, just criticizing who I was as a person. And then going out my path to try and please everyone who was hating on me just so I could get their approval, despite me trying to defend myself at the same time from the same haters by trying to prove that I'm better than those who are hating on me to try and make myself feel better, because at the time I was hurt. There were some underlying issues with what I was going through, and that's the main reason why I left YouTube. And when I left, I started focusing on myself to be a better person, to open my eyes, and then come back with this video to tell you all that the guy I was yesterday is not the same guy that I am today. And I regret the egotistical side of me so much, because despite my online personality being like that during that time, I wasn't even like that in real life. But you live and you learn, and I grew from that mistake to be the very guy that I am today. The dramas I've gotten into show me how bad my immaturity was, because while in some situations I was factually correct about a point or an argument that I was making, in others I was not. I will always put on this invincible hat and proclaim I was untouchable like a king, and make these speeches to certain people about how right I am in every argument, when in reality I was just not only drama hungry, but insanely cocky and ignorant. I don't blame this on just myself though, because there is a ton of people of whom I was beefing with, and they were insanely cocky and ignorant themselves. Once again, I would be outed as the bigger fool, but not for the reasons I mentioned. It's just a thing I noticed with myself that I seek to improve on later on. However, I would always respond to every little thing anyone had to say about me, engaging in the trap of focusing more on drama rather than anything else, exposing my cocky side and egotistical side, of which I spoke out on at the top of this video. That was a problem. Keyword was. I will act off of impulse and not off of logic. You can tell with some of the points that I make on certain people that the points that I use would either be flat out wrong or flat out dumb or excuses. I'm not saying all of them, but quite a few, which causes me to speak out on it. Most of the exposed videos I have made would not be well constructed either, and the dialogue would be messy, which is bad, to the point where only if you watch both sides, you'd be able to draw your conclusions. I would act like I was having a closed conversation with the said person I'm in dispute with, expecting the watcher to fully grasp what I was saying, when in reality, I showed little for it. And that's not with every situation, but a good few situations. Like I said, a couple of quote wins over drama had me feeling cocky, but me also being so overly invested in what others were doing allowed me to lose focus on what I needed to do and made things worse for me down the line. Let's get to the final point. As you all know, hyping up my comebacks every time I would make an appearance online would be a struggle for me, in addition to what I was going through, trying to maintain relevance through false hope, and that's how I maintained a fan base on Discord, since Discord had a majority of my audience there at the time. And while yes, I love my fan base, and nothing ever changed from that, and there was also no fake love, I'm not saying I used my fan base to get where I am. However, I am saying that I created a sense of false hope that really got worse when my depression got worse, to the point where I have to leave, or where I had to leave. They called me a server hopper because I would always hop servers every time one would die because I wasn't taking care of it properly, when in reality I should have just stuck to one server or did a server only for my uploads if I couldn't maintain a community. But I led myself into my own demise. My downfall was not because of external conflicts, but because of internal conflicts. Because I was so focused on what people thought about me on the outside looking in, and it caused my inevitable downfall, for I am the reason I am where I am today. Irrelevant. R.S. Warren let his fans down. But as I am just now realizing, failure comes before succeeding. Even if it took me a while, I'm glad to be in this new mentality where I have the chance to fix myself. Yes, others have exposed me for a plethora of things in the past, but failed miserably. And they failed because they didn't get through to me. They only fueled the fire. But it had to take myself to fully pick me apart because I am my best critic. I know myself the best. These people online can make their points about me or opinions about me, their judgments, but as long as I was ignorant to the videos, they didn't serve a purpose in opening my eyes. But when I look back, I realize my shortcomings, what I can do to improve myself, and best of all, I freed myself from my own mind, coming back to YouTube healed. So while, even though R.S. Warren let his fans down, and I did let you guys down, and I'm sorry for that, Warren's world will pick up the pieces, and we will rise again. That's all I gotta say. Thank you all for watching this video. God bless you. And Warren is out. Peace.